Why does your loyalty have a sudden kill switch? You are standing in front of a mirror. You do not recognize the face staring back. For years, you were the warmth in the room. You were the architect of second chances. You were the limitless well of forgiveness. You stayed when the structure was burning, because you operated on a specific belief system. You believed that loyalty was the gold standard of the human economy. You believed that if you bled enough, if you sacrificed enough equity, you could heal them. You absorbed their damage. You metabolized their chaos. You acted as a biological filter for their toxins. When they were weak, you became the spine. When they were blind, you became the eyes. You granted them root access to your nervous system. You allowed them to plug into your main server, and they drained your battery until you were running on emergency power. But then, something shifted. It was not a loud explosion. It was not a chaotic scream. It was a quiet, mechanical click. A line was crossed. A silent alarm triggered in the deep geometry of your mind. And the switch flipped. Suddenly, you felt nothing. No anger, no sadness, no desire to repair the breach, no desire to explain the logic. Just a cold, clinical, absolute silence. The person who would have taken a bullet for them now looks at them and sees a stranger. You look at their face, and you see a biological entity. You see meat and bone, but the spirit you loved is gone. The emotional connection has been severed, cauterized, instantly. This terrifies them. They call you cold. They call you a sociopath. They scream that you have changed. They claim you never loved them. They are incorrect. They are simply witnessing the terrifying physics of the human soul. They mistook your patience for permission. They mistook your loyalty for submission. They assumed your supply was infinite. And now they are witnessing the result of a system failure. They are realizing a fundamental law of human dynamics, that the most loyal people, when pushed past the thermal limit, become the most ruthless strangers. Welcome to the watched hour. We must dissect the anatomy of this transformation. You feel guilty for this sudden ice. Society tells you that you are wrong. Religious texts tell you to turn the other cheek. Modern psychology urges you to communicate. Your friends tell you to be the bigger person, but your biology is telling you to weld the door shut, and to burn the bridge, and to salt the earth. You ask yourself if you are broken. You ask yourself if you are evil. Let me be precise. You are not broken. You are not evil. You are a high-functioning system that has finally detected a critical error, and you are initiating a purge protocol. Let us examine the hardware. We need to understand the neuroscience of loyalty. Loyalty is not poetry. Loyalty is a biological investment strategy. It is an evolutionary mechanism designed to conserve energy. In the ancient tribe, isolation meant death. The wilderness was too cold. The predators were too fast. Resources were too scarce. So the brain developed a subroutine called pair bonding. This is mediated by a neuropeptide called oxytocin and a hormone called vespericin. When you are loyal to a target, your brain literally merges your identity with theirs. This is not a metaphor. This is hard science. Your anterior cingulate cortex, the sector of the brain that monitors pain and safety, expands its perimeter to include the other person. Their pain becomes your pain. Their threat becomes your threat. You hack your own survival instinct to include another organism. This is an expensive process. It requires massive amounts of glucose. It demands emotional bandwidth. It taxes your adrenal glands. You are running a high-load server to keep this connection alive. You are constantly predicting their needs. You are constantly regulating their temperature. This is called co-regulation. You use your nervous system to stabilize theirs. You ignore the glitches. You ignore the red flags. because your reticular activating system is programmed to filter them out, to maintain the bond at all costs. You are the sentinel. You are the guardian. But every system has a breaking point. Every machine has a thermal limit. The transition from loyal ally to ruthless enemy is not a choice. It is a biological override. It is a circuit breaker. The brain is a prediction machine. It is constantly calculating the cost versus the benefit of every interaction. For years, your brain calculated that the relationship was worth the overhead. It was running on the sunk cost fallacy. It believed that one more investment would yield a return. But the payout never arrived. There was only more debt. There was only more extraction. When the metabolic cost of the relationship exceeds the survival value, for a sustained period, the brain initiates an emergency detach sequence. This is why it feels sudden. It is not sudden. It is the result of thousands of micro-calculations running in the background. The accumulation of disrespect, the accumulation of lies, the accumulation of energy theft. Your subconscious mind has been keeping the ledger, even when your conscious mind was making excuses. Even when you were telling yourself it would get better, the accountant in the back of your mind was tallying the losses. And when the score reaches the kill threshold, the prefrontal cortex intervenes. It suppresses the amygdala. It cuts the supply of oxytocin, and it engages the cold logic of the reptilian brain. The parasite must be removed. The threat must be neutralized. The leak must be plugged. This is not cruelty. This is the immune system of the soul, reacting to a pathogen. You are not being mean. You are surviving. Now we must examine the trap. Why did this happen to you? Why do the most loyal people attract the most destructive partners? The tragedy of the loyal person is that they are a beacon. You are a lighthouse in a storm. You project stability. You project warmth. You project competence. And stability attracts the unstable. Warmth attracts the cold. Competence attracts the parasites, the narcissist, the energy vampire, the Machiavellian. They see your loyalty not as a gift, but as a resource to be harvested. They see your capacity to forgive as a glitch to be exploited. They view your empathy as a backdoor into your fortress. They test your boundaries, tentatively at first, like a predator testing the voltage of a fence. They make a small hurtful comment. You let it slide. They arrive late. You wait for them. They lie about something trivial. You rationalize it. They push. You forgive. They push harder. You rationalize. They betray you. You explain it away. This creates a dynamic known as intermittent reinforcement. It is the same psychological mechanism used in slot machines. It is the most addictive pattern known to behavioral psychology. They give you crumbs of affection, then long periods of starvation. They give you a moment of brilliance, then weeks of darkness. This spikes your dopamine. It creates a chemical addiction to the cycle. You are not staying because you are happy. You are staying because you are chemically dependent on the hope of a payout. You are waiting for the person they used to be. But that person never existed. That person was a mask. That person was a lure used to set the hook. But the predator makes a fatal miscalculation. This is their arrogance, and it is their undoing. They assume that because you are kind, you are weak. They confuse high empathy with low intelligence. They believe that because you are patient, you are blind. They believe they have fooled you. They do not realize that you saw everything. You saw the lies. You saw the manipulation. You saw the disrespect. You simply chose to ignore it because you valued the bond. You were giving them space to evolve. You were giving them the opportunity to rise to your frequency. But they chose to stay in the mud, and they tried to pull you down with them. Carl Jung spoke of the shadow, the dark side of the psyche where we store our repressed aggression, our capacity for violence, our primal power. The loyal person usually keeps their shadow on a tight leash. You are civilized. You are controlled. You have integrated your monster. But the shadow is always there, waiting, watching, recording every insult, recording every moment you swallowed your pride. When the betrayal happens, when the mask dissolves, the leash snaps, the shadow does not just step forward, it takes the throne. The predator thought they were dealing with a sheep. They did not realize they were poking a sleeping dragon. The pain of betrayal activates the same neural pathways as physical torture. The anterior cingulate cortex lights up. The body goes into shock. Cortisol floods the system. But then, the adaptation happens. The brain realizes that the source of the pain is the attachment itself. So it's ever's the attachment. This is called the dorsal vagal shutdown. It is a freeze response. But in you, it manifests as the death of emotion. The love evaporates, and in its place, there is a void, a terrifying, endless void. This is where the ruthlessness comes from. It is not active malice. It is the total absence of care. The opposite of love is not hate. Hate requires energy. Hate is still a connection. If you hate them, they still control you. The opposite of love is indifference. And indifference is a weapon of mass destruction to the ego of the narcissist. They panic. They ramp up their tactics. They cry. They threaten. They love bomb. They try to make you jealous. They try to destroy your reputation. But it is too late. The software has been uninstalled. The file has been corrupted. You are no longer their victim. You are the judge. And the verdict is exile. You must understand the power of this shift. You have spent your life suppressing your darker nature. You thought it was the moral thing to do. But true morality is not the absence of power. It is the control of power. As the philosopher Jordan Peterson notes, a harmless man is not a good man. A good man is a dangerous man who has that under voluntary control. You have been harmless for too long. You have been a doormat. You have been a resource. You allowed them to colonize your mind. You allowed them to squat in your emotional real estate without paying rent. Stop romanticizing your suffering. Stop telling yourself that your tolerance was a virtue. It was not a virtue. It was a lack of boundaries. It was a lack of self-respect. You were buying their approval with your soul. And now the transaction is cancelled. The ruthlessness you feel now is simply your self-respect coming back online. It is the rebalancing of the scales. Do not fear this coldness. Embrace it. It is the armor you should have been wearing from the start. The predator fears you now because they know you know their secrets. You know their weaknesses. You know their fears. You know where the bodies are buried because you were the one helping them dig the holes. And they know that if you chose to, you could dismantle their entire reality with a few sentences. This is the position of power. This is sovereignty. Do not relinquish it. Do not let them guilt you back into the cage. The guilt is a trick. The guilt is a remnant of the old programming. Delete it. We need a strategy. We need to operationalize this ruthlessness. You do not want to be messy. You do not want drama. Drama is for the weak. Drama gives them supply. Drama tells them they still matter. We are going to execute a surgical extraction. We will deploy for specific protocols. These are designed to protect your biology and to neutralize the threat permanently. The first protocol is the biological firewall. This is often called no contact, but I want you to reframe it. You are not punishing them. You are not playing hard to get. You are quarantining a virus. When you interact with them, even to fight, even to argue, you are giving them access to your dopamine receptors. You are keeping the neural pathways alive. You must cut the feed, block the number, filter the emails, delete the photos, Remove the digital trace. Do not check their social media. Every time you look at their social media, you are re-infecting yourself. You are scratching a wound that is trying to heal. You are blasting your brain with cortisol. You must starve the addiction. The brain needs 30 days to reset its baseline neurochemistry. Give yourself the 30 days. If they find a way to reach you, you do not respond. Silence is the loudest scream. Silence is the only message they cannot manipulate. Silence is the void. Let them scream into the void. Let them wrestle with your ghost. The second protocol is the grey rock method. Sometimes total severance is impossible. Perhaps you work with them. Perhaps you share biological offspring. Perhaps there are legal entanglements. In this case, you must become a grey rock. A grey rock is boring. A grey rock has no surface for hooks to grab onto. A grey rock offers no nutritional value to the vampire. When they speak to you, you answer with facts, not feelings. Yes, no. They will pick them up at 5. The report is due on Monday. Do not justify. Do not argue. Do not defend. Do not explain. We call this JADE. Stop your ding. When you explain yourself, you are submitting to their authority. You are asking for understanding from a person committed to misunderstanding you. Stop casting pearls before swine. Become uninteresting. Become dull. Monotone voice. Flat effect. No eye contact unless necessary. The predator feeds on reaction. If you do not react, they will starve. They will look for another source of supply. You are making yourself nutritionally void. The third protocol is the velvet guillotine. This is the mindset of the outcome. This is for when you must deliver the final blow. The guillotine is sharp. It is fast. It is final. But the velvet is the demeanor. You do not need to be angry. You do not need to raise your voice. You can smile. You can be polite while you are removing them from your life. This causes massive cognitive dissonance in their brain. They expect you to be hysterical because that frames you as the crazy one. If you are calm, if you are collected, if you are smiling while you enforce the boundary, it destroys their narrative. It proves that you are not reacting to them. You have transcended them. You execute the cut with surgical precision. I am no longer available for this conversation. Period. I will not be attending. Period. This relationship is concluded. Period. No reasons. No apologies. Just the cold steel of the decision, wrapped in the velvet of indifference. It is absolute. It is non-negotiable. The fourth protocol is the narrative override. They will start a smear campaign. They will tell lies about you. They will try to destroy your social standing. This is the extinction burst. It is the behavior of a rat when the food lever stops working. It frantically presses the button. Do not engage with the lies. Do not try to defend yourself to people who believe the lies. If they believe the lies without asking you, they do not belong in your circle. Let the trash take itself out. Your character is your defense. Live your life with such excellence, with such discipline, that the lies become laughable. Do not descend into the mud to wrestle the pig. You both get dirty, but the pig likes it. Stay on the high ground. Focus on your mission. Focus on your purpose. Success is the only revenge that matters. Revenge is a low vibration. Indifference and success are high vibrations. Let them tell their stories. You are writing a new book. This path is not easy. Your biology will fight you. You will have withdrawal symptoms. You will have phantom pains. Your brain will try to rewrite history. It will remind you of the good times. This is a trap. This is called you for a recall. It is a glitch in the memory storage system. It highlights the peaks and deletes the valleys. Do not trust it. Trust the data. Trust the pattern. Trust the scar tissue. Write down every terrible thing they did. Write down every lie. Write down how they made you feel in the dark. When the nostalgia hits, read the list. Break the spell. You have ascended to a new level of existence. You are no longer the naive child seeking approval. You are the Ronin, the masterless samurai. You serve only the code. You serve only the truth. The most loyal people make the most ruthless enemies because they know the value of what was lost. You valued the bond. They desecrated it. Therefore, they forfeited the right to your warmth. Do not light yourself on fire to keep them warm. Let them freeze. Let them experience the winter they created. You have a kingdom to build. You have a life to construct. And you cannot build a skyscraper on a foundation of quicksand. Clear the debris. Pour the concrete. Build the walls. Watch from the tower. You are the architect of your own reality. The pain you feel is the breaking of the shell. It is the birth of the sovereign self. The sovereign self does not need validation. The sovereign self does not need permission. The sovereign self is complete. You have reclaimed your energy. You have reclaimed your time. You have reclaimed your nervous system. Use it. Direct it toward your goals. Direct it toward your health. Direct it toward your empire. The person you were is dead. Let them die. Bury them with honor. And step into the body of the person you are becoming. A person of power. A person of boundaries. A person who knows the difference between loyalty and slavery. Walk away. Do not look back. There is nothing there for you but ash. Look forward, into the dark, into the quiet, into the freedom. We are Mind Ministry, and we are watching.